Welcome to Exploring Santa Cruz, a biweekly program alternately presented by Jean Kretzer and Mathilde Rand. I'm Mathilde Rand. Today I'm again joined by Colleen Murphy and Jane Weed-Pomerantz from the Positive Discipline Community Resources. We spoke last month, but realized there is so much more to cover. And now let me introduce you to our speakers, Colleen and Jane. Are you there?
Yes, we are. Hello. Good afternoon.
Colleen,
how are you?
I am fine. A little warm here, but I assume everybody else is too. So, Colleen, why don't you start off telling about yourself, leading towards being with the PDCR, the Positive Discipline Community Resources?
Who I am in a nutshell is I studied child development at Chico State University, and my main focus has been in early childhood education. Then I began to work more with parents. At some point in my career, I became a parent. And then I started teaching parenting classes and parent-toddler playgroups when I had my own children, and then started directly teaching parents. So I became trained in positive discipline. It's a philosophy I'd used throughout all of my teaching, and then wanted to get trained to bring it directly to parents. And so I've been doing that for, 12 years or so now, and doing trainings, and it's just my passion. I believe it's the way to not only become a better parent, but a better human being, as the philosophy is just based in such sound psychology. And I do parent coaching now, as well as teaching classes. So,
great.
My journey.
What about you, Jane? What's your journey to PDCR?
Well, I had 4 kids, all under age 12, in the late 1990s, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be doing this for a long time. And I got invited to take a class, Developing Capable People. And I loved the material, but I didn't like how it was taught. It was very didactic and lecturing and listening and then being very passive. And I took the next course I could in positive discipline, similar tools. And this was in 1996. And I've been taught through the elementary schools for a while with city schools, and then the adult education, the adult school for a while, and then went on to become a trainer and went on to become a lead trainer and started with a number of my colleagues, a nonprofit, about 10 years ago, and that's what PDCR is.
Fantastic. So why don't you give us a little overview of what PDCR does?
Well, PDCR is working throughout the Central Coast at this point, and we provide classes and support groups for parents in both English and Spanish. And we also train teachers and administrative staff and counselors in schools. And we also have a program where you can introduce this in your workplace. So we've taught the staff at medical clinics, and we have classes that are in the criminal justice system. We've been teaching at 3 of the 4 detention facilities in Santa Cruz County now for almost 2 decades. Because it's good for all relationships, we provide as many opportunities as we can. So it's self-designed, too. You've got a need. We'll come and do a workshop on a particular aspect of communication. We provide tip sheets for those cutting-edge issues that parents and teachers face in their work, and those are on our web page as well. And we've, for the last 4 years, had a conference called All Means All for working with children that have special needs. So we'll be doing that again. We had to cancel this year's workshops and conference, but next year we hope to bring it back.
That is wonderful. So you have a wide variety of topics as well as a wide range of people that you're reaching with your work. Is that correct?
Right. We do online training, online workshops right now, support group workshops Tuesdays in the mornings from 11 to 12 for Spanish speakers, and on Thursdays from 3 to 4 in the afternoon for English speakers. And if they go to our website, pdcrcc for centralcoast.org.
So tomorrow, Tuesday for Spanish speakers and Thursday for English speakers, and people can sign up on your website to learn more about this incredible work that you're doing.
We're really finding how it's amazing that we teach this experientially, because we know the learning goes deeper from the head to the heart, and that there's likely to be a better behavioral change if they learn it deeply inside. And we were nervous about whether it would work on a Zoom call, but we've found that we can do a number of things that still create a kinesthetic experience and involve people in role plays they would like to be. And the feedback and reflection is still very, very connecting and helpful for parents.
When I talk to parents, they're just telling me they're so overwhelmed being a parent, being a teacher at the same time. And what kind of advice would you give from your experiential approach?
I've been talking with quite a few parents as well, and I'm really encouraging them to be very kind to themselves. You cannot think the same way that you did before COVID. You can't do it all. Things have changed dramatically. What you think you're going to be able to accomplish needs to change. I encourage parents to really downscale their expectations about how well that they can actually teach their child or be their child's teacher. They didn't sign up to be teachers. They are getting very stressed out about the amount of assignments that they feel like they're supposed to get done, and it's causing tremendous power struggles between kids and parents. So I know some parents have called the teacher, talked to the principal, and even at that level, they're reminding them, like, you know what, it's not going to make or break their academic career. Downscale it, maybe have the child take ownership of it in that they say, here's these 3 assignments, why don't you just pick one today? Or another parent I know got really creative with it, and instead of doing math, she said, let's go cook. And they had to cook anyway, and so then they were using measuring cups and a third of a cup, and was learning that way to just really back down their level of expectations. It's almost over as far as school. We're in the home stretch. And I just want parents to be realistic about what they can actually accomplish and take breaks and enjoy each other. I've been having so much fun with my daughter because she's not out and about with friends or school, and just being present with her and playing a board game instead of doing schoolwork, or, there's still lots of relaxing fun things that can be had, and you don't want to miss that. This is such a unique, interesting opportunity to be together.
How important is it for parents to set some kind of routine for their kids in this time?
Thank you for mentioning that. It is really important. So in the midst of relaxing, you also still need to create some kind of routine. It becomes very chaotic if you don't have some kind of structure to your day, and children really do well under a type of routine, such as, be sure to, for the parents, I always recommend get dressed every day. It makes it really difficult if you don't. So face your day. You're a parent, it's a job, and then you can loosely structure your day or more structure, depending on your style. Some people are just really thrive on lots of structure, but you can go too far on either end. Too much structure, not good. Too little structure, not good.
Thanks, Colleen. But I remember my niece saying, my son, he just wants to be in his jammies all day. And I don't know what to say to her, but I bet you have some kind of suggestion.
Well, one of the things that we find is that sometimes when people are feeling really discouraged, then they have a tendency to regress or to misbehave sometimes when they're feeling discouraged. So it's really about connection. Find out what's going on. I mean, even just yesterday on our Zoom family meeting call, my oldest son was feeding his 3.5-year-old daughter, and I knew how strange that was because I've seen her also pick up a piece of sushi with her own chopsticks and stick it in her mouth. So she knows how to feed herself very well. But there he was feeding her, and I'm sure she just kind of needed to have a little bit of a special attention from him. And then it was all done and said and done, and they were off and on doing their thing. So I think that we have to allow some latitude for people to go into a place where they might need some more nurturing, and then encourage them to feel capable again. On the issue of routine, our approach is to have the child and the parent develop the routine together so that the child really owns it. And the buy-in is going to help that child feel like it's their own. So they help put the list together and help put it in order and figure out how much time each item will take. And then it's theirs, and it can be posted somewhere with photographs or things, images that they create, or make it a fun, playful thing so that they have different routines for different things. And did you want to talk about teenage routines, Colleen? Because those are different. And
those you definitely need to absolutely work with the teen, even more so that you're going to go in with questions rather than more structure. So with the teen, it might be, so let's think of all the things that we need to fit in your day. It's important that you get some schoolwork in, and it's important you get some exercise in, and what do you think is reasonable, or how much homework do you have on your plate, or letting them be very much co-creators with you on their day. And you don't need to micromanage them. They're going to push back if you try to do that too much. Maybe even let them fail a little bit and then go in with questions like, so, yeah, this doesn't seem to be working. I'm noticing the schoolwork is getting behind, or you're on the screens way too much, and this is getting out of bounds than what our agreement was. Let's circle back. We need to reassess and regroup and rethink this, because I'm not okay with that much screen. And so it's very much collaborative on the teen level, and the more autonomy you give them, the more they're going to be likely to work with you because they feel respected and acknowledged as a participant in their life.
So to me, it's thinking about what is the long-range objective. When your child launches into their trade, or if they go away to college, or in their work, if they move out of your house, you want to know that they know how to clean, they know how to cook, they know how to do some basics on laundry or mending or fixing, tightening a screw or whatever. So this is the time to play with some of that. We always had categories. Well, so what did you do today for physical activity? When do you plan to get to bed? Because how much sleep do you need? So that they really are starting to think about their own time management.
Excellent. That's, for right now, but I'm already thinking ahead. I have a friend who is a superintendent of a school district, and of course she is thinking about next year. So when I talked to her, I said, what is it going to be like next year? She said, well, we're actually planning for a lot of different things, but there is probably going to be an alternate school schedule. That might be that kids are going to school in the mornings and the rest of the group will be going in the afternoon, or it will be alternate days, or maybe alternate weeks, or whatever it is. So I said, what are we going to tell parents? How are they going to help their kids to deal with changing schedules? I mean, right now they're probably getting into some kind of routine at home, but they will be, again, changing in when they go to school, when they get to see their friends, and with how many kids there are to be in the classroom. There'll be still some distant learning. What do we tell parents? How do we help parents deal with the fears of the kids? Because I'm sure they're still worried about the germs and getting sick and not having things normal. What would you advise?
Well, one of the things that's so important is connection and having a very strong relationship, so that you are at a place with your child that they can tell you anything that they're concerned about. And if you don't overreact, but actually stay calm, do your own self-care, breathing, and then ask questions. Wow, sounds like that you feel strongly about that. What would that be like? And what is your biggest worry? To sort of converse and have the child talk a lot about it. My guess is that a lot more parents are going to be a lot more worried than their kids are, because they're going to be so excited about being back with their friends and in the school routine and a break from home that they'll probably be raring to go. But if the parents can take time for training so that the kid remembers, so that their child remembers to wash their hands often, to keep their belongings in a place, where they won't be touched by everybody, just some practical skills towards safety, and then being open and saying, we'll figure it out.
And trust the child that they will understand, and in the connection with you, help themselves and help you as parent too. How then do you support the parents who, according to a lot of people, are probably more fearful than their kids?
Actually, Colleen has something she wanted to say.
I wanted to add on to that, that parents are leading the way, and the kids will turn to the parents to see, is this really, really a big deal, or is this a moderate deal? And so it's super important that parents lead with confidence so that the children will be able to assess. And this is a perfect opportunity for parents to teach about, we have to live in the unknown. And unfortunately, kids are getting an experience of that pretty early on in their lives, that they're experiencing such a big unknown. So it's hard for parents. It's hard to lead when they're also struggling with their own internal worry and concern. I don't know what's going to happen. Things are changing every month. We don't know exactly what the schools are going to do, and they don't even know for sure, because come September, it's quite a ways. So I think parents, it's more important than ever that you do your own work with your own resources, whether it's a great friend, whether it's with a counselor, whether whoever it is that you seek out that helps you feel grounded and can breathe through the unknown, to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Simple things, drinking water, exercise, keeping as much routine as you can, and finding things that bring joy. Like my daughter and I are playing charades. We've never done that before. We're cooking more, whatever. And we laugh a lot. And, my job's crazy. I don't know what's going to be happening. I've lost summer jobs that I was going to have, so financial strain. But I just have to keep breathing and moving forward and finding friends that I talk to and offload. But I don't offload to my children and the other families that are at my preschool that I work with. For them, I present honesty. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, and this is a little different. And I'm actually having things new and different at my work, so I understand this is hard. So you're acknowledging it, but not panicking with your children if they are panicking.
Mm-hmm. As a principal, I had kids that stayed at home, crawled under their bed, and didn't want to come to school. And, of course, nobody knew what was going on until, indeed, like Jane said, I was able to establish a connection to figure out what was going on and then coax them out of the house. But I can imagine it's going to happen more, especially if the kids are exposed to a lot of information. And yes, we can be transparent and say we don't know, but there needs to be some foundation on which the kids can trust what the parent and the teacher and the school is saying, as long as they all say the same thing. So there must be some connection between the school and the parents about what is being done. I can imagine that more kids need extra support.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been thinking about is that this pandemic has sort of put up a mirror for us to look back on ourselves and our whole society in terms of what are our priorities, what are the disparities meaning for families. The technological divide is a very good example of that. And I think that people in the field of education are realizing more and more that what we've done is we've created a generation of kids that we are drumming and preparing to take tests.
Mm-hmm.
But are we preparing them to handle the tests of life?
Right.
So there's a lot more of an emphasis coming more. I'm hearing it from counselors right now about the social emotional learning environment as well,
mm-hmm.
so that people feel, fundamentally, they feel safe. And then they feel that they are valued, that they have capabilities, and they're encouraged. And then you sort of manage the weaknesses, but accelerate the emphasis and the celebration of strength that people have.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the kids are going to come in all across that continuum in terms of what kind of schooling that they've had. And the teachers are going to have to help the kids catch up. And the teachers are going to have to be important sort of anchors for them to feel that they are safe and stable and in a routine and that people care about them. That's true for the parents letting their kids go back to school, that ultimately you have to create a situation where the trauma is not going to be perpetuated. A little bit of stress is good for us to learn, but when we have constant toxic stress,
mm-hmm.
then it goes into our bodies and it begins to affect how we think, then we're in greater and greater dismay. And I've been upset by a lot in the education system for years now because we can see the stress and anxiety that's increasing for especially teenagers of having to succeed. And we forget that they are at a critical point in their life where they need to have balance
mm-hmm.
rather than just all A's in academics.
So that brings me to the question about mistakes, because we're all going to make mistakes because we do not know what's going on. You talking about, teenagers, many of them really want to be perfectionists and are worried about mistakes because what it will look like in front of my friends when I do this or that and that. What is your take on that?
Well, we have a phrase that mistakes are wonderful opportunities to learn from. And we don't say practice makes perfect. We say practice makes better, because there is no perfectionism. So in the end, there's nothing to do right. And making mistakes is actually perfect because so much can be learned from that. And so if you have cultivated acceptance of mistakes within your own household, that you make mistakes, you talk about your mistakes, you don't freak out about them, and sometimes at dinner time you can even say, hey, what mistakes have we made? What have we learned from them? And just create this culture. There's a woman I know who I heard of the story. She's like the youngest billionaire, but her dad every night said, what did you fail at today? And that was the culture he created for her. And she was never afraid to take risks because he created that culture. And then she, it was highly successful. Not that that's marker of success, but the success was that she's not afraid of risks.
Excellent. Yeah.
So, you have to be aware of what you have control over, and you have control over your home environment, and not shaming your child, especially in the teen years, of making choices that aren't so great. And you can go forward with, okay, yeah, this didn't go well. Let's talk about this. Tell me, how would you do that differently? Any thoughts about what you learned? And let's move together. I totally have faith in your ability to learn from this, because I've seen you do it before. That kind of attitude. And you can say all the right things, and your child still may feel horribly guilty and shame, and it's just the nature of it. But
I think that's how we human beings are, right?
Sure.
Sometimes you cannot help a person thinking badly about themselves.
Right,
Talking about that, isn't May, isn't that the Mental Health Month?
Yes, it is, as a matter of fact.
And so what has this epidemic, this pandemic, done to our mental health? What has been coming to you through your conversations with parents and possibly with kids?
Oh, that's a big one. And I'm thinking about positive discipline is about building the internal locus of control and not the external locus of control. And a lot of times we seek outside for the answers. We get our rewards or our punishment from the external forces out there. What is the guiding light from within? What I think, again, the mirror or the reflection back on our culture about what we expect from people, it's been rugged individualism and success and status and consumerism and all of those kinds of things. And right now, we need to help people go back to the basics, who they are, and doing things because they're the right thing to do, not because it's expedient or they get something out of it. But it's back to that connection between people and really being there to listen.
And where do you find people that will listen to you? Because everybody is in the same bubble of fear and what's my next step and where's my next meal coming from? What is there for people to seek help?
We at PDCR our executive director has established a kind of a heart-to-heart listening campaign where if people call in and they want somebody to just think things through with, talk about a challenge that they're having and have somebody listen to them, we'll arrange that for folks.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it seems that there's lots of things that people can do in terms of who's within their own support network that they feel comfortable talking to, that they might set up a call with once a week to just check in like buddies. And how did it go last week? What did you do about that particular challenge? And make sure that there's reciprocity so that it goes both ways,
right?
And that people can feel supported. Do you have other ideas, Colleen?
If you have parenting challenges, I offer my parent coaching when people just call me, talk on the phone, and talk through things. But screen time is a big one right now. But, to the level of fear of where my next meal is coming from, hopefully that there's some community resources out there and that, PDCR can connect you up with community resources. And there are many counselors that are doing things online that I'm aware of when it gets, to a level that's very distressing. And absolutely, people are in great stress, and abuse is up, suicides are up, as I've seen it. So that just means all more reason to seek out support and connection with each other.
And I wanted to mention one of the things that Alfred Adler, who's the father of this theory, talked about, and that he was very trauma-informed because he worked with a lot of soldiers in World War I and helped them to reestablish their lives. And some of the biggest pieces of that was realizing that you are a part of a family, a tribe, a community, a neighborhood, a classroom. You are part of, and you're an important part of it. And sometimes he would prescribe for his patients when they were in depression. He would prescribe that they go and do 2 weeks of community service or volunteer work of some sort, and then come back and talk about their experience. And so I know when we're in a pandemic and we have to stay indoors, there are still lots of ways that people can reach out and find volunteer work that they can do that they can, within their own safety needs, do, whether it's making masks or whether it's packing groceries or whether it's delivering things to people who need it. There's a lot of ways that we can help each other and then by doing that, help ourselves.
Boy, what an incredible way to finish this half hour. It's already gone. Thank you so much, Colleen Murphy and Jane Weed-Pomerantz from the Positive Discipline Community Resources. And people can reach you at pdcrcc.org. Is there a phone number that people can call?
476-7284 with an extension 107.
Excellent.
Our offices are housed at the Live Oak Resource Center.
I really appreciate talking to you and learning myself a lot more. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Mathilde.
Our pleasure.
Okay, good.